Alright, Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Merkakwadash, and double honor to the apostles and the elders of the great millstone. And I also want to say peace and blessings to those for elect, hearing this word in truth and in sincerity. So I just want to do a quick lesson, going into how, these Americans, they were deceived, man. Okay? And, pretty much dealing with how this guy, Donald Trump, sold these people a false dream, and now, fucking 2-hour pieces are being made on this guy and how he lied to the world, man, or lied to you Americans, put it that way. Now, people that trusted in, America being made great again, they look stupid, or they're upset about it. And that's why the scripture says, and this is referring to our people, okay, these so-called blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans. Woe unto you that go down to Egypt for help, that trust in the shadow of Egypt, because, a lot of our people that went and voted for Biden, they seen that, that didn't work out. The 4 years of his term, it never worked out. He didn't do nothing for quote-unquote black people, so they switched sides and went to Trump. Trump ain't do nothing for you, all right? And that's to show you that, whether Democrat or Republican, they don't care about you, all right? They are the Edomites. The Edomites do not care about you, all right? Scripture says how he had that perpetual hatred, all right, and he kept his wrath forever, So why would the man that kept his wrath forever give you a piece of the pie in his society? Esau would give celebrity Jakes, things, but there's a cost with it, or there's a price for it, And these celebrities, shit, the average person is well off, is better off than a lot of these celebrities out here, man. Way better off than these celebrities. You may not see it that way, but we really have more freedom than these celebrities do. But this is Proverbs 29:2. It says, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice, but when the wicked beareth rule, the people mourn. And I brought this up because as the title goes, you fell for the deception, all right? Because now the wicked, when you voted, you didn't vote the wicked out of power. You thought when you I'm gonna go vote for Trump, you thought you were voting Biden out of power. Trump got into office, and shit. You can argue that shit is getting worse. He gave promises that life will become better, things will become better, but ain't nothing become better. All right, you got Americans struggling to live paycheck to paycheck, man. People are barely getting by. So, what did Trump really do for y'all? All right, in a couple of months he's been back in presidency. Nothing, man. Because at the end of the day, his task is to do the agenda of the elite. All right, what the elite want to do is, bring about their New World Order. That's no secret. They want to bring about the New World Order. All right, and they set up their little puppets, to do so. Okay. Let's go to the book of 2 Thessalonians. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 and verse 2 and verse and we can really start from verse 3. It says, Let no man deceive you by any means. Let no man deceive you by any means, for that day shall not come, except there come a falling away first, and that man of sin be revealed, the son of perdition. Alright? And we fell away from our heritage, going back to 70 AD. You know, when Israel fled the Roman captivity. Alright? And up until this point where the man of sin is being revealed, has been revealed. The so-called white man, Esau. You know? So, that's why, you know, as, when these people come and stand on the podium and talk about the plight or the struggles of so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, you know, that's why I don't want to get surprised no more, but you got Jake that really, that's out there, you know, trusting in this shit, man. We're going to build back, we're going to build back our black communities. And I'm not saying he said this, but these are things that Esau would say to get our people to trust in him. Because when you think about that voting shit is really to get you to lean on him. You know? It says, verse 4, who opposeth and exalteth himself above all that is called power or that is worshipped, so that he as power sitteth in the temple of power, showing himself that he is power. Alright, Esau have done this. Alright, the depiction of the Heavenly Father and Yahushua have been whitewashed. Okay, the Israelites have been whitewashed. You know, so he's pretty much blasphemed the Most High's only begotten Son. Alright, his people. You know. Now they're trying to set up world domination by linking man with machine. You know, so this is what you voted for. You voted for man to be linked with machine because this is what's being planned right now. It says, verse 5, remember ye not that when I was yet with you, I told you these things, and now ye know what withholdeth, that he might be revealed in his time. For the mystery of iniquity doth already work. Only he who now letteth will let until he be taken out of the way. Yeah, right, because Yahweh Bashem Yahushua gave this man power, right? Job 9:24. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. You know? So therefore, you know, the wicked is pretty much is oppressing the poor, are ruling rigorously. And that's why when we proclaim who the Edomites are, when we bring out scriptures talking about they going into captivity, you know, you think that our people would be like, you know, yes, you know, this is what I want to hear. No, Jake is not like that. Jake is coming against us to save the wicked. That's why 2/3 of our people are going to get fucked up, man. Right, the same man they're trying to save is the one that's going to trample over. You know? Okay, it says, so like I already read that. Verse 8 says, and then shall that wicked be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming. Right, the so-called white man Esau, alright, has been revealed to be, the so-called white man has been revealed to be Esau. You know, the Edomites. You know, because for so long, the deception was out there that, you know, they were the most outstanding people, upstanding people. They can do no wrong. Hell, they sneeze on you and they might bless you, right? That's how the world looked at him. Everybody wanted to be like Esau, man. Moab, Ammon, Jake. Hey, Jake getting the blonde hair. You know, you see Jake with the blonde hair, walking around. Why? Because they want to be like Esau, man. You know, they're getting contacts to make their eyes blue. Why? Because they want to be like Esau. They want to be accepted in a society ran by Esau. Alright? So, now that the wicked has been revealed, people are fleeing this man. Alright? Now, granted, you do have people that still want to be like him. Alright, but they're more than likely they don't know what's getting ready to happen to this man. You know? It says, even him, verse 9, even him whose coming is after the working of Satan, with all power and signs and lying wonders, you see? And they're going to bring that about. Oh, you can already see it, with the AI. You know how the artificial intelligence, it's like, you almost can't tell the difference between what's artificial intelligence and what's real life anymore, man. That's of left-handed power. That's really witchcraft. No, hey, just like this, the witchcraft in the ancient world, or not too long ago, it's just it's still here. It's just came back in a digital form. It's come back digitally. Like the shit you see on the internet, more than likely it's not real. It was made by AI. And not just in the past couple of years. Esau's been had this technology, alright, for decades, man. The artificial intelligence, he's just incorporated into society to push, this new world, man. But they've had this technology, man, over 50 years. Hey, this man's blessing was the sword, right? So just like how, the weaponry that they have, all right, they've had this shit for years, man, decades. And that's how we know that they got more behind the scenes, like the robots that they show in movies and shit like that. They got that, like, cyborgs. Not say cyborgs. I'm talking about like a man, alright, but they've pretty much replaced his body parts, with a machine, like maybe an arm. Alright, they replaced a missing arm or a limb with a robotic arm, legs with a robotic leg, and it may be stronger than his natural arm was, because a lot of these machines, they I don't know how to put this, but they use hydraulics, if that's the right term. So shit that can lift maybe 2 tons, man. Alright? Shit that can lift 2 tons, hydraulics can lift that. But the point being is that this is all a deception, and people fell for it. And in the days to come, right, the deception is going to get a lot worse. Okay? Just lock it. Give me a moment. I'm trying to drive through this. Okay. Let's go to the book of James, the 5th chapter. James chapter 5 and verse 1, and it says, Go to now, you rich men. Go to now, you rich men. Weep and howl for your miseries that shall come upon you. Okay? And the rich man is talking about the Edomites, the elite. Alright? Those that have power, over this world. And the Lord is pretty much going to address them for their wickedness, man. For the shit that they've been doing, in the course of their power. Because really they're trying to escape judgment. They're trying to escape, being accountable for what they've done. But you can't escape the eyes or the hands of the Lord, man. Alright, and you so-called white people, you elite, you bankers, alright, get ready for that judgment. Get ready for that judgment. Because Yahweh Shai is coming back, with anger, man. So you can come down on the world, in anger, because you want to set up a new world order or whatever. You can come down in wrath because your time is short. But when it's all said and done, this ends with y'all going into captivity. Alright? Verse 2 says, your riches are corrupted and your garments are moth-eaten. Right? His riches are corrupted because of the way he got them. Look at it now. Look what they're doing. Severely oppressing the poor. And even before, 2020, when the world changed, and 2020, that was a time where they made a lot of money. Alright? About what they were doing. Because a lot of people was just constantly shopping at these different centers. A lot of people, were being put to death. These funeral homes are making money. And we know these funeral homes, hey, this is all owned and controlled by, Esau. Okay? So, there's many ways that their riches are corrupted, man. Okay? It says, Alright. It says, verse 3, your gold and silver is cankered, and the rust of them shall be a witness against you, and shall eat your flesh as it were fire. Ye have heaped treasure together for the last days. You see? So, their gold and silver is rotten, man. The way they got it, and they're gonna vomit all those riches up. And by vomit, they're going to give it all up. And we're not talking about guys like Bill Gates or Jeff Bezos, who else from these rich people are? Donald Trump. We're not talking about these guys. All right, these guys, they're considered, minute compared to the elite. The elite, they got riches, and all those riches are going to be taken from them and given to, Israel. The so-called blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans. Because with the transfer of power, is everything after it. Money, riches, women, cattle, everything. Okay? Verse 4 says, behold, the hire of the laborers who have reaped down your fields, which is of you kept back by fraud, right? The laborers, mainly are Jake, but really those that are in the workforce are being defrauded. Because when you look at how they pay you every 2 weeks, according to the scriptures. You're supposed to get paid, the same day you work, But Esau, he holds back your check for 2 weeks. Alright, and then when you do get the check, they don't take about $500 out of it, And the more money you make, the more they take out. That's oppression. You see? It says, which is of you kept back by fraud, crieth, and the cries of them which have reaped are entered into the ears of the Lord of Sabaoth, which that's the Lord of armies. It says, verse 5, ye have lived in pleasure on the earth and been wanton. Ye have nourished your hearts as in a day of slaughter. Because Esau, Edom has become so fat, has become fattened for the slaughter, so to speak. Because when Yahweh Shai come back, he's coming back to, pretty much stomp Esau out, his kingdom out. That's why in the book of Joel, the 3rd chapter, it talks about how the wickedness is great. Put ye in the sickle. Okay. Joel chapter 3. Get straight to the point. Verse 13, and it says, put ye in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come get you down, for the press is full, the fats overflow, for their wickedness is great. You see? Multitudes and multitudes in the valley of decision, for the day of the Lord is near in the valley of decision. You see? So, they begin with the rulers down to the people. The wickedness is great, and Yahweh Shai, he's coming back, all right, to pretty much, cut down, So, Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakakwadash, and double honor to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the full elect, hearing this word in truth and in sincerity. Until next time, I'll say shalom.